We are so pleased to have put together a new chemotherapy gift box with Dr. Deanna Martinez. Deanna is a friend of mine, and she's a New York City based psychiatrist. She was diagnosed with breast cancer many years ago and has a lot of advice that she wants to share with people. Deanna, we'd love for you to join us and just talk about how we put this box together. Good to see
Great.
you.
Good to see you.
So the first and most important thing in the box is a journal that Deanna wrote. It's got a lot of advice, a lot of guidance, and then it's also got some space in the back just to keep track of things because there's a lot going on with chemo. And Deanna, maybe you could just give us a quick overview. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here, but some of the highlights of what you wrote about.
Sure, it has a lot of practical tips, how to get sleep, how to get a little bit more energy. It talks about the importance of getting exercise, walking. When I was sick with chemo, everybody offered to bring meals and dinners, which was helpful, but I realized what I really needed was to get out and walk. So it talks a lot about that, practical things, healthcare proxies, living wills, talking to my kids, just a lot of advice across the board. When I first got sick, I started jotting things down, partly because I couldn't remember anything. And I do have a section there on chemo brain. And it just morphed into not only just keeping track of things, but also keeping track of things that helped me feel better so that I could one day, pass it on to other people. And I'm glad to have that opportunity now.
Great. And one of the things around exercise was walking. Talked about how walking was so important for you, not only from exercise perspective, but from a support perspective. We have these wonderful alpaca and bamboo socks. They're moisture wicking, but they're also super comfy, great for walking. And also just if you need a little extra warmth during a chemo treatment. But Deanna, maybe you could just talk a little bit more about how walking helped you so much.
Absolutely. I mean, having my friends meet me and go for a walk was really, as you said, great for support, great for getting out, great for just feeling better. And really the research shows that light exercise really helps recovery significantly. When I was first sick, a friend of mine did give me a pair of walking socks, and I thought, what's the point of walking? Like, why don't any socks work? It seemed odd, but I mean, I was certainly glad to have them. And I tried them on, and they were fantastic. So not only is it great to have nice sneakers, but really good walking socks do make a difference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tell us about this mouth rinse. I know you are pretty passionate about using this to help out. So tell us a little bit about that.
So it was recommended to me by my oncology team. It's a non-alcohol based mouth rinse, and at the time, again, I didn't think much of it. But a friend of mine who's an oncologist recommended using it to prevent mouth sores, not waiting, but just using it. And so I did, and I was lucky. I had maybe a little bit, but not a whole lot. I can't say that the mouth rinse prevented it because I don't have another me who didn't take the mouth rinse, but it's certainly dry mouth is a huge thing, and so I think it helped.
Yeah, and caffeine. We have caffeine mints. Tell us about caffeine and how you used it.
I absolutely needed caffeine. You're exhausted, you're tired. I still needed to get up and help my kids get to school. Still needed to do stuff, and I really couldn't drink coffee. First of all, everything tasted horrible when you're in everything tastes like rusty nails, and coffee was really kind of hurting my stomach. But I was not really wanting to give up on my caffeine. I really needed it to get up and to feel better. And so I started
Yeah.
using caffeine mints. I had them right next to the bed, and really just letting it dissolve in my mouth just gave me that little burst of energy that I really needed in the morning. And then I often took more, probably around like 1 or 2, not late, so it didn't interfere with sleep. But it's not that different from having like a soda with caffeine or coffee. But because my stomach really couldn't handle, I also love green tea. I couldn't drink green tea or coffee, and the mints were really just helped me tremendously with energy. At one point, I did take a prescription medication, which is in the journal for energy, called modafinil, which has been shown to be helpful with fatigue. And
Mm-hmm.
that was nice to have, but but really I didn't want to take it for a very long time. And as things got a little bit better, the caffeine mints were plenty. I still use them today, though, I have to say.
Well, you've turned me on to them, and so they're a big component of my day now too. Great.
Those
And these
glow
are all
dark.
natural, so that makes you feel a little bit better. Tell us about your skin. So we included some lotion that's from a very special line called Lindy. The woman behind this line is a cancer survivor, and she had sensitive skin. So tell us about what happens with your skin and how lotion can help.
Just super important to for the health of your hands and feet. Your hands and feet really do suffer with chemo. Neuropathy happens a lot with different types of chemo. And it really, just good moisturizer is really important, especially one that's fragrance free and lanolin free. I think is very important for that. So
And why is lanolin? Is that an allergen, or why is that bad?
well, it can be. It comes from, I guess, sheep, and I don't have an allergy necessarily to it, but I just wanted to try something that I knew for sure I would have no reaction to. I don't
Yeah.
normally, but when you're doing chemotherapy, I didn't want to risk anything. I definitely know that like if I use stuff with fragrance, it irritates me. So I just stuck with fragrance free, lanolin free, just to make sure that I didn't have anything really annoying my skin.
Last thing in our box is a heavy duty nail clipper. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, people think it's funny when I'm giving gifts to people after me who've had chemo, but you really don't. You really want a new nail clipper. You want it to be fairly sharp. It's really important to keep your nails kind of short and rounded. Fingernails and toenails can suffer tremendously with chemo. Sometimes people lose them. As I mentioned, sometimes mine became a little bit discolored. And you don't want to use a nail clipper that anyone else in your household has used, and probably not even you. You want to use one that is just new, that doesn't have any sort of like risk of infection. And people, we don't think about nail clippers in our lives, right? But certainly a
No.
new fresh one that's sharp is just good to keep. It really is important to keep your nails like kind of short, and actually to put lots of lotion on your hands and feet. So those two go together. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's been so much fun to work on this box together, and I know it's going to be super duper helpful for people. I think not only the products, but the love and support behind a gift box like this, it's all so helpful to the overall healing process. And just thank you for all of the great advice and guidance.
Absolutely, my pleasure.